Hello YouTubies, this is the Scribe. I want to talk about 9/11. I did make a video about it last year. Certain people did comment on it, which was good. Other people definitely disagreed with me, saying that, planes couldn't cause damage to buildings. Of course, Boeing 747s and commercial airliners could absolutely cause havoc to a building if they crashed into it. No doubt about it. 9/11 conspiracy camp, I've been talking about molten metal. Now, I responded to a lot of these people saying that there's not a lot of proof of this, but then again, I'm not discrediting the molten metal being there. My theory is, when these two planes, commercial airliners, were weighing in at 400 tons apiece, travelling at sonic speed towards the World Trade Centers, slamming into them at billions or trillions of tons of pressure, because when you have like a mass, like 400 tons, travelling at 500 to 600 miles per hour, its weight increases, the energy it has, the kinetic force increases dramatically due to the speed. This is where Einstein came up with his theory of E equals mc squared. The faster you go, the more you weigh, kinetic energy you have, so it's harder to stop you. So what does this mean when it crashes into the World Trade Center? This is where the 9/11 conspiracy theorists have it wrong, and this is where even the people who discredit them for, saying, oh, there was no molten metal, have it wrong too. Both camps are wrong in different ways. I believe that there was molten metal there, and I believe that the steel beams did melt in certain places. They would not send people in there and the people go, I'm going to go into the 9/11 buildings and commit suicide. Nobody of the intelligence services is stupid enough to go into these burning buildings and start playing with lasers to cut beams while the whole place is falling down around them. That's suicide. I don't believe it was aliens either. But then again, I do believe that molten metal was at the scene. So I was doing some investigation on this, and I was having a good think about it last year. And there's one thing that everybody misses, which is kinetic energy. The energy transfer from the plane smashing into the building and the steel beams having to absorb it. Because to stop the plane, they have to absorb all that energy. Otherwise, the plane would simply knock the building out of the way and carry on. To stop it, it has to first disintegrate the plane, which is what happened. So that aluminium was literally disintegrated into molten metal itself. I think nobody can actually deny that. That would actually burn. Also, on top of this, the energy is still going. It's still traveling inside the building, and it has to be absorbed. Otherwise, it'll continue on. So what happens? The metal beams start to absorb the energy, and it has to stop it. It's like an explosion, so to speak. If you've got TNT, all TNT is just air blowing outwards, air and powder, but it can cause a lot of damage due to the speed. But all this energy has to be absorbed, otherwise it'll break through it. And what happens to something that absorbs all this energy? Well, it depends on several factors. If it refuses to budge, it will heat up tremendously. If it vibrates, it will also heat up tremendously. And at the fracture points, it will heat up to such an extent, it would even liquefy the steel because of the tremendous amounts of pressure of kinetic energy being delivered at these steel beams. Most people don't see it. And you get the politicians saying it was jet fuel. Forget what the politicians say. They're not pure scientists. They're just there to speak on everybody else's behalf. But they're not somebody who would understand that stuff. However, neither are most of the truthers. And you've got to explain where all that kinetic energy went. Because energy can never be destroyed. It can only be transferred into something else. That's scientific fact. So when it hits the beams and the beams start to absorb it, that energy has to go somewhere. Where does it go? It is converted, my friends, into heat. And when it converts into heat, the metal heats up to a large degree. So all the kinetic energy is what created the molten metal at the stress fracture points. And you can even see that. You can even see that happening where the planes fucking crashed. Are you telling me that after these planes crashed, that somebody go, I know what I'll do. I'm going to go up there with tools and start to liquefy this metal. They'll be roasted alive. That's a crazy conspiracy theory. I'll tell you what the conspiracy theory actually is. A lot of people in the truth movement are bullshitters. They're after attention and they're doing it to naive people. They want to get famous. That's why they lie so much, and they just like to make these conspiracy theories because everybody likes a good conspiracy. They want it to be a government conspiracy, a massive government conspiracy at them. And the truth of the matter is, there is a conspiracy, but it has nothing to do with the president at the time going into the building and start cutting it up. Do you really think that the president himself went into the building that you all blame with steel cutters and started to cut it up while he was there reading books to children? That he was also, that was fake and he was somehow in building the World Trade Center cutting it up? I don't think so. However, the cover-up is that the people who took down the buildings were terrorists, but they were also crazy. It has nothing to do with the countries they attacked. And I think that's where the conspiracy actually is. And when everybody goes crazy stating that somehow the governments did all this on purpose, it sounds crazy to everybody. And a lot of these alternative media outlets are just liars. They're after money. Oh, it is a donation button for my investigations. And half of them don't even know what they're talking about. They talk about things like, oh, fires can't bring down the World Trade Center. Of course they couldn't. But it wasn't just fires, was it? You guys out there keep on missing the fact that 2 planes crashed into the World Trade Center at sonic speed, weighing hundreds upon hundreds of tons, at an energy transfer of millions, billions, possibly even trillions of tons of pressure. Thank you.